Hey fellow TIs and anybody watching this video, this is Vulcan Wolverine or Kyle. It's Wednesday afternoon. I'm not sure what the date is, August something. I just wanted to make a video so I could try and do something productive today. You know, I know it's like 6 o'clock right now in the afternoon. And I've been doing some work this week with my mom, writing grants. So I have been kind of productive, but last night, it wasn't set in stone that I had to go and work today. So I ended up staying up all night. And I think I do that, I'm playing a video game, but I kind of do that because these guys, hurt me the worst. I'll have directed dreams. They'll microwave me in my genital area, while I'm sleeping, and it seems to work the best when I'm asleep. So I think I find myself kind of staying up at night when I usually would go to sleep. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to start not trying to sleep, about 6 hours or less, or maybe 7 hours, but no longer than 7 hours. Because I feel like when I sleep for 10 hours or something like that, they kind of cook my body. They're able to get me in a deeper state of defenselessness, and microwave me and with the directed dreams and kind of the mind raping. But I just wanted to make a video. I'm not sure what I want to talk about. I didn't really have anything really planned. I was going to do another vehicular harassment video. I think those are great because my guy, my main stalker or organizer, he doesn't stop. If I make a video, he'll still give me red lights, because those lights are on a they're on a network, and he can get people to help him stop the lights that I go up to. He doesn't, I don't think the communication is fast enough to where he can really communicate with the one light people. I haven't seen a lot of cops, but I think after today I probably will, because what happens with me is if I communicate with my attackers, if I'm in my house and I'm like, man, cuss them out. I totally failed today. I was just cussing them out so bad because I went over to my parents and they don't listen to me, and they were just saying I need to get my car fixed, which is true, and they were saying how if anything happens, they're not gonna get it out of the tow place if I do get stopped again and have a broken taillight. So I was really mad, and I kind of started communicating with my stalkers and really saying some bad things to him, which I feel are true, but it's still bad. I still, would rather be just peaceful, working towards being positive and helping people. But y'all kind of know where I'm coming from on that. I do want to do another vehicular stalking video soon, and just do as many of those, because that's a lot of really concrete evidence. You see how many one light vehicles within a 15-minute drive, and it's just, there's no way there's a percentage chance that you're going to see that. And they're on vehicles that are really really clean and fixed up, and nothing's wrong with them, and it's it's really not subtle at all, but I've just been kind of going along doing the talk shoe conference calls, and talking with people on there. And there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of good stuff. People trying to get civil actions filed. Evidence gathering. We're coming at this from a lot of angles. There are a lot of smart, caring people involved in this. There are things to defend yourself with, and I just want to reiterate that time and time again. They're out there. So, look at that. Email me at vulcanwolverine@gmail.com if you have any questions on what works really good. I actually had ordered yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing, but like I've been telling people about the Altera whole house plugs, and you can get them at other places. Like you can get them at Amazon or eBay. They're Altera whole house plugs or a whole house plug, and what it does, you plug it into your wall, and it basically turns the wall into a field against frequencies, like any kind of Wi-Fi frequencies to the range of like these microwave frequencies, electromagnetic frequencies. And they're cheap. They were $50 before. Now they're $75 at Altera, and it's weird because I had it on a 2-day delivery, and it was about 2 weeks ago. I think about a week and a half ago. I ordered it last Saturday, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, and it kept not coming. And it was supposed to be there in 2 days, and it was like I really kind of need them. I'm defended. Like, if I'm sleeping, they can the remote neural monitoring, the V2K works, but I'm pretty safe from the high-pitched noise and them really hurting, like, my back or my chest with ELF, the directed energy that hits those muscles and bones and hurts them. So I'm pretty much defended from that, and I've got some stuff coming that's even going to help that more. But that's what I've been suggesting on conference calls, and it was weird because it kept not coming in the mail, and I was like, dude, these guys, because I know that I see some mail trucks, I see FedEx that are caravanning me, I know they're cooperating with the patrolling or gang stalking part of it, the vehicular stalking, but I'm not quite sure that this guy could, have a connection in somebody in the U.S. Postal Service and just be like, throw his package somewhere where it gets sent back or something. So I really did that. I was wrong about it. I mean, it was a natural feeling like this isn't coming. It always comes in 2 days, and somebody probably just threw it somewhere, or they're holding it, or something like that. And so I was worried about that. I eventually called in Altera at the beginning of this week, and he was like, we're out, and our supplier's out, and we're gonna get them to you next week, hopefully. So like, I don't know if maybe it's just the season for that, but I'm hoping that a lot of targeted individuals have heard about these things and they're just ordering them, because these things really work. They will buffer your harassment, your torture down a lot. Like, I actually I'll check mine because I have a lot of them in my house plugged in, and I've been, like I said, deterring things is a good idea, because this guy just comes to my house. Like, he has a key to my house. He'll come in the front door pretty much during the day, and I guess like he went all the way to the back of my house, and I last night, because I started hearing the ringing sound again, and I started hearing the V2K a little bit more clearly. And also my back started hurting, so I was like, man, did they get more equipment or whatever? And I think they're kind of plateaued on that a little bit, because the house is small. They can't fit a lot more in it. So they plateaued a little bit on that, but I was like, man, what did they do? Did they get into this place? But I was walking around last night, and I went right by the wall, and the plug's right by his wall, right by his equipment. They're the most effective. Like, if it's right by his equipment, the plates right by his equipment are the most effective. The ones further away in the middle of the house, they do protect the house and anything remote, but it's not as effective as putting it right by their stuff. So if you have somebody and they're right by you doing it to you, definitely put it as close to their equipment areas where you think their equipment is as you can. But I was walking around the house, and I was checking my plugs. I haven't done it in a couple of days. I got tired of doing it. And this is a story y'all need to hear, because I walked into the corner, and the two plugs closest to where he usually is, to where I put like 8 plates, and I have plugs on the front of his house, they were hanging out. They were hanging out just a little bit unplugged, so I could barely notice them, but both of them the same. And so he came into my house, like, while I was gone one day, and he just kind of pulled them out so I wouldn't really notice. He didn't pull them out totally, but just kind of pulled them out at an angle so maybe I wouldn't notice, and it really did affect it, just 2 plugs. So that's kind of the moral of that story is if you do stuff like that, make sure you check it. Make sure you check and make sure everything's plugged in and working on. Because I didn't for a couple of days. He noticed that I didn't. He noticed that I wasn't checking them, and he came in and he did that, hoping that I would kind of keep that up. I noticed it last night. I put them back in to where they were, really in there good, and it made a huge difference. Like I didn't hear the ringing sound. The V2K went down. I had a better night's sleep. I don't remember any directed dreams, so it affects all these frequencies that they're working with. The Altera whole house plugs, Q-Wave personal defenders, Q-Wave tabletop defenders, which they're more expensive than plugs. That's why I recommend the plugs, because the plugs are very powerful and they're cheap. It's like you could get, I would recommend. Like a tabletop defender is $500, and that's 50 times a personal defender. Now a plug, you could get, they're $75 each. So let's say you buy 5 of them, or six to make it $500. I would recommend getting 6 plugs before I'd recommend getting a tabletop defender. They're more power. You're getting more bang for your buck, and they're they're cheaper, and they're up to that level of a tabletop defender, and they go out 100 feet, as well as the tabletop defenders go out 100 feet. The personal defenders put a field around you about 10 feet, and anything there's a Q-Wave car defender, which is 3 times a personal defender, which I think is about 20 to 30 feet. But these things do work. They work, and they don't knock it out. They don't knock out the problem, but I would really suggest just trying the plugs out. If you have nothing, if you're not defending yourself, I'd really suggest just buying a $75 plug, or you could probably find it on Amazon or eBay for like $50 or maybe less. And I'd really recommend getting one. They don't, about the first week through, you might notice a difference right away, but it takes 3 weeks to build up to full power. And about after a week, you're going to start seeing a huge difference. But you might notice it right away. Like, you might notice, a little bit of comfort right away. But it does take, so don't, don't get too, be very patient with this equipment. Because all this equipment, even the tabletop defenders, take a long time to build up that field. Because they're shooting out solfeggio waves and the Schumann resonance and scalar waves. And they have to build up a field, so it takes a while. It takes, when I move a plate, I have to wait a while to get comfortable again. If I move 2 plates around, they might get me for a couple of days to where I'm like, what's going on? They're really hurting me. But there's stuff out there to defend yourself. We're making waves in a lot of areas. We've just got to be bolder and just, the way we say it's important. We've got to let people know that it's going to affect their lives and not just tell our stories. I know that's what I want it to do. I want to get on here and just kind of say what's happening to me because it's the easiest thing for me. And a lot of times I've noticed it on the conference calls, and, when I'm trying to explain something to my mom, I will have lapses where I forget what I'm talking about. So they're definitely, they definitely have something where they can, if you have a train of thought, they can derail that with some of these electromagnetic frequencies. I've really noticed it a lot on the conference calls. I'll be struggling for words when, at the beginning, I'll be talking to people and I'm fine, and then about an hour or 2 hours goes through and I'll be struggling for words and trying to explain stuff, and it's really important because I want to explain how things work and explain, where I'm at, and I'll really, words will disappear. And that didn't happen at the beginning of my torture. It's mostly just recently happened within the last half year, I think. And I didn't, when it started happening, I was like, it's a little bit of memory loss from being tortured so bad, but they really can, if you're on a train of thought and you're trying to think of a word, they really can get in there and kind of, move it around or move it away so you can't. You know, you can't really say what you want to say. Things have been going pretty good. I really, like, I hate this guy. He's a murderer, and, like, I tell him that, like, because he can hear me in my house. He's surveilling me, and, you know, I guess he tries to play off of that. He tries to play off of anything I'm looking on the internet. If I look up something, you know, about Sandy Hook or just research and stuff, I don't know what I believe about a lot of things, but I do want to look at our world, and, you know, because there's a lot of deceit. There's a lot of people who are like, well, if we can make something look true, it's just as good as, you know, really helping people, which I think is horrifying, and I don't believe that. I think you might as well just do honest things and help people. But there are people with some philosophies that I don't understand, and there are enough of them to affect our lives. So Bill Cooper once said, you know, you don't have to believe this stuff, but they believe it, you know. So there's a lot of stuff that we need to know they believe, and you may not believe it, and it may sound stupid, some very weird kind of cult beliefs, or, you know, chaos into order, or, you know, eventually if we kill enough people, you know, we'll have a utopia. There are some beliefs that are crazy, but you got to know that some of these people believe in those crazy beliefs. So we need to know what they believe, because they believe it, and it's going to affect us. What else is going on? I'm doing pretty good. I'm writing cancer grants. I'm getting them ready. I'm helping my mom a lot. I'm waiting on Social Security and disability. I can work with my mom, and she gives me leeway, but I feel like I'm very worried after that last job. I didn't screw up or anything, but just the feeling of being tortured and remotely hit with V2K and these voices while you're going to work, like, you know, I have this feeling that, you know, when I go into a business or I go into somewhere to work, I want to give 100%. Like, I don't want to screw them up, and it's so tenuous. It's like I feel great right now. I feel like I could go get a job right now, but I'm not sure how this is going to change. If this guy's going to get something else that hurts me, and then while I'm in the job, you know, my torture will completely change. So right now, I am going for Social Security and disability. Like, I had a court case with a judge. I let him know, and it's important that you don't finger anybody. You don't say, oh, it's this person doing it to me, that you say it's remote and local sources. I feel like I'm being targeted by microwave frequencies or whatever. You do want, it sounds crazy, and the judge didn't believe me. But, you know, I've heard other target individuals, they're getting Social Security, you know, because they're target individuals and they told the truth. And I think it's horrible, because I think it taxes the system. It puts more tax, it just puts more pressure on the system, and these people are putting pressure on the system. And, you know, I'd rather go get a job and not be tortured, but for now, to help my family and to survive through this, I'm going to have to make that maneuver, because it's the safest maneuver. And then after that, I may try and see what kind of job I could get that, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe talk to Social Security and see where I can go after that. You know, I took pictures, like, because y'all have seen my house on videos. I have, you know, that enclosure, which just looks horrible, but when I get inside of it, I'm safe. I'm really safe, because I got buffering from equipment, and then that layer too. But my mom wants me to make something that's a lot neater than that, and I think I can do that too. I think that if you make an enclosure, I think you need to kind of build it, like, kind of squarely, maybe with corrugated steel or those 4x4 aluminum plates. And then, you know, if you do want to use any kind of aluminum foil, put it under. Don't put it on the outside, because it'll get crinkled. Put it under the corrugated steel or under the 4x4 aluminum plates. Kind of pack it under there so you don't see it, so it looks a little bit neater and you look less crazy. Because right now, like, my aluminum foil is all crunkled up and it looks real bad. But I took pictures of that and I gave it to the judge. Just show him where I live. I can't cook I can't even really, I could cook if I tried, but it's like a small space between all that crud in my oven. So I really hope that I get that. It's a kind of a Pyrrhic victory, and I was talking to somebody about this. It's like a lot of the things, because we're people of conscience. I see the people going through this; they're good people. So a lot of the things we do are going to seem very Pyrrhic. It's like you don't want to get Social Security, you don't want to be tortured, but you kind of gotta try and move forward in the most intelligent, peaceful manner you can. And I see it on the other side, and I'm not going to talk about my attackers too much. I'm going to kind of shut up today and try and just ignore them and mind my own business. But I see it on their side that no matter how bad they're hurting people, it's like pure victory for them. Like I feel that with them, and it's unbelievable to me. It's just unbelievable to me, like the way this all works and the way they think. We do need to learn about some of the initiatives, like in the UN and our in these alphabet agencies that flow down, and the marriages between corporations and the military, and the marriages and the fusions of a lot of our police and EMS and fire safety agencies. We have to learn about the philosophies behind this, because it's not going to be on the mainstream news. We have to learn about drills that they're putting out there to see how far they can go. We got to learn about Jade Helm 15, what they're doing there. It's not going to be on the mainstream news. We have to learn about these things, whatever avenues we can look at. Be discerning. If it's something that's into the world, demons are coming to get us or whatever, just be discerning. And like, I have a very spiritual, religious side. I believe in Jesus Christ. I believe He is my Savior. I believe, I was watching, but I want to finish that off. I believe that this is going to turn out for good. Like, He's going to turn it to good, and He is strengthening me through this. I've never felt stronger in my life, or able, not physically strong. If I wasn't being tortured, I'd feel happier and healthier and more energetic. But spiritually, I feel like I could take on anything, and I can help people with anything. And I think that's what God's trying to strengthen me. But I have seen things where it does kind of funnel into my religion. I see things that it's like, maybe the end times are here and stuff like that. But just be discerning. Be discerning about what you watch. Make sure it's backed up by facts and documents and stuff like that. Don't just believe anything that's like scary, or like, just be discerning about what you look at. But we do need to learn about the world we're in, because things have changed a bit, and people who were not that numerous are kind of growing in this kind of crazy philosophy about, well, if we lie about something, it's just as good. We'll get people together. There's some really, really bad beliefs that will infect our society, and they're not going to nothing good's going to come of them. But I kind of want to wrap that up. What I did want to say was, I've been liking some Joel Osteen videos. Like, I started watching some Joel Osteen videos the other night, and that guy, he's like a prophet to me, because he can talk to a room of, you see Lakewood Church, it's like how many, I don't even know how many thousands. Is that tens of 50,000 people? I don't know. I can never estimate like a stadium full of people. But like, it seems like he's, it's like God's talking to me, not like talking to me in voice, but like the messages he had in every, I guarantee you everybody in that place was feeling that. They were feeling like that's right towards me, So I would recommend, if you are religious, if you are even spiritual, watch Joel Osteen, things about God pushing you into your destiny, not wasting your pain, trying to get... There was this great sermon on getting into the frequency of God communicating with you, which is like, we're tuned into the frequency of our attackers. We're tuned in, we're focused, they've got us, they've got us beaming that crap at us. But if we can tune in to God's frequency, get that out of our head and tune into what God's trying to show us, then we can do more amazing things, have more energy even in this stuff. And he just gives some great sermons. He always tells jokes. It's never boring. He has a lot of great stories of just, victory through Christ and victory through, listening to God. And I'm not talking about like the voice of God, but your intuition, your gut feelings. So I'd really recommend those to anybody who's spiritual. They get you through it. They can help you. Those have helped me so much. But then, the next day I'll be yelling at my attackers. So I've got I don't really fault myself for it. Like, it doesn't seem like a mistake. They're murderers. Like, they're murdering me in secret. My family doesn't know about it. So I feel like I feel like it could get me in trouble, but it's not like it's real wrong. We should hate murderers. We should hate people who secretly rape people and murder them, shoot stuff at them, hide while they're doing it. I think we should do that. What else? So the new things that I've noticed a lot with the remote neural monitoring are the kind of when I'm trying to talk about, even on these videos, not so much as the conference calls, but they will, like, I'll be looking for a word, and usually I'm pretty good with my words, but I'll be searching for a word, and I'll have to go with a word that doesn't make it sound like what I want it to say. It doesn't make it sound like what I want it to say. And we just have to fight past these things, adapt to them. The best thing is knowing what's happening. And it's hard to know on this side, but that's where, trusting God and listening to God, listening to your intuition, your spirituality comes into play. Because I've done a lot of intelligent things, and I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I've done some things that have, like, stopped this guy. I mean, buffered him. I've got defensive equipment. I don't understand why, the police wouldn't have heard about me not doing anything violent, but just getting defensive and saying, wow, this guy went and found stuff in an impossible situation. Let's not attack this guy. He's just getting defensive stuff. I have theories about it not mattering, and I'm sure all of y'all do too. We all kind of know it doesn't, your innocence or guilt or how good you are, it doesn't really matter. And I'll go ahead and call out Mike, my friend Mike. He has a heart of gold. He would rip the heart out of his chest and give it to you. And he's going through some of the most pain. He's been going through this a long time. And I hope you don't mind me mentioning your name, Mike, but he's one of the nicest guys I've ever known in my life. And he's gone through immeasurable torture. And I know he tells me, he has times where, he'll talk back, and it's, he'll have bad times too. But when he gets on those calls, because he leads a call on Mondays and Thursdays at like 7 my time, so I think it's 8 Eastern, and he's great. Like, he's great. He's coming up with initiatives to get evidence and initiatives to try and make some money for target individuals, and I'm trying to help him with that. We're trying to write grants, maybe come up. I don't want to say anything before we do anything solid. Because it'd be a big project, but he just comes up with great ideas. He really cares about the people that this is happening to. He gives of himself. Like, he tries to work with new target individuals and helping them to understand what's happening, helping them when they need him. And it's like, he gives and he gives and he gives, and it makes it hard for me, because I'm like, man, there can't be a reason why they're targeting these people. This guy, he literally would. If you were missing an arm, he'd give you his arm, And it doesn't make any sense. He's not dangerous. He's like the nicest guy ever. But I guess, like, he would say that about me too, He'd be like, he's a nice guy. I don't understand why they're doing this. And we have these conversations. Me and Mike, we go round and round. Like, I'm like, I just can't believe these people. I can't believe it. How they don't know what they're doing, and they don't care about human life. It doesn't make sense, And we just go round and round. But we have to know kind of who does it, but we can't get wrapped up. And Mike's right, Mike says a lot that we just got to get evidence. We got to get evidence that people can't dispute. You show them the evidence, then you can get the people who don't know about it to push these people back. He's just way right about that. I think sometimes I get caught up in like, oh, how could these people do this? How could they do it to anybody? You know. And he's been going through it for a lot longer than I have, so he has a lot of wisdom. And I have knowledge about the technology. I know I do. Like, I know that I've been blessed in that category of, even when they're shooting it at me, I can figure stuff out because I'm getting stuff and I'm playing around with it and experimenting, not with their technology, but with defensive technology. So I've got stuff to add to the table, but like these people who have been experiencing it for a long time, they have and I know they're not at peace because they're being tortured, but listen to these guys. They're wise, and they know what's gonna help and what's not gonna help. He has an initiative where he's gonna try and get evidence collecting, stuff and data that can be across the board. So it's not like just me having a tri-meter and me getting these readings, but the same equipment all across, the nation, so we can get results, and they're all the same. And we gotta build up money somehow, and I'm gonna help him with that, and he's gonna work on it to get that working. What I found, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and chance this, and if any of y'all think this is a good idea, you might want to try it. But you can go online and just go on to like bird hearing devices. And they make devices that, can hear a bird call 100 feet away. So I want to, get my defenses up so where I don't even hear the V2K, but I have a bird hearing mechanism that just hears what they're putting into the V2K. Because there's equipment out there that can hear that far away. I mean, you think about the equipment these people have to hear us, surveil us, and stuff like that. But there's stuff that we can get to fight back, kind of on that same playing field. And if you just go to bird listening devices, I don't know where I heard that. Somebody on a conference call must have been talking about it, or I saw it on TV, like somebody listening with a device, but it's like a big dish, and it can hear a bird call up to 100 feet away. So it's like I'm thinking of just, putting that by the wall, recording some of that, and the guy will either stop doing the V2K, it'll back him off in some way. It'll get him to change it up. He may actually try and I don't want to say what he's going to do. I don't want to give him any ideas, but he'll either keep doing it. Like, my guy is pretty gung-ho. He doesn't care that I'm trying to gather evidence. He kind of just keeps doing it in my face. So I'd have a good chance of him, not slowing his roll. But I guess that's about it. Like, man, just get with your spirituality. Like Joel Osteen had a sermon about, Paul, and how he really wanted a thorn removed from his side, and God refused to move it. He's like, my grace is sufficient. My grace is sufficient. And I don't like what's happening to me. I don't like what's happening to us. People, especially people who aren't, they can't easily go look up stuff and find the technology and defend themselves. I wouldn't call them helpless on certain levels, but they're helpless on a scientific, technological sense. I really get angry about that, and I want to, like, sometimes on calls, like, I'm so type A, I just want to, try this, you got to try this, I'm wringing my hands because I hear an older, like an 80-year-old woman who's like, they're burning her ankles, and I'm like, my hands are ringing, and I want to tell her about this plug so she can have some kind of relief and be able to get up and have energy and fight this thing. But I know I gotta just be patient about that. I'll have my avenues. I think I'm gonna get a call too pretty soon. I'm pretty good with Mike's calls. The big calls are huge. Like on Saturday night, it's 200 people, and I don't usually talk a lot. There's so many people want to say so many things. But we really are. We're making moves in this. Like, I really have, like, I don't just have faith. Like, I have faith too, but, and like I've told you all this many times, I have a knowledge that this can't last a lot longer. And if we're beating down the doors, not beating down the doors literally, but if we're gathering evidence and we're defending ourselves and we're pushing these people back and we're not yelling and, you know, we reach out to those people who don't know what's happening to them. I think there's a kind of a risk group that, you know, they may go off and do something violent with this, and that's not a big percentage of target individuals, not even maybe like a 2%. Even if it's 2%, that's too much. We need to reach everybody. We need to let them know what's going on, give them defenses. Know that they have a support group. It's so important to me. Like, that's what jumps out at the top of my heart, because the more violent stuff that this creates, it's not going to stop the program. It's going to justify it to the people doing it. They're going to just lie and say, look, there are these crazy people. We got to surveil. We got to microwave people. Whatever. So that jumps like to the front of my chest every time I talk about this. We've got to get to everybody. We've got to let them know violence ain't going to solve things. It's going to make things worse. It's going to justify the program. Be as peaceful as you can. Be as smart as you can. There's ways to defend yourself and be active and not take this and not be controlled, but do it in a peaceful manner. If you do feel like you are angry, you know, say something in your house to your attackers while they're listening to you. Say some cuss words or something like that. I mean, I wouldn't even recommend that too much, like, because it makes me feel bad when I do it. It makes me feel good for a second, but then I'm like, I don't want to be that way. Not like, oh, I lied or you know, I said something that was untrue, but just I don't want to be that way. But if you do have to, if you feel very angry and you can't take it, you know, there are avenues. You just say, hey, man, you people are this or that. And if that's the worst that you do, then that's okay. But violence, physical violence, is not going to solve anything. It's going to make things worse. And I am sure about this. I'm sure about this. Because the way the mass media is and the way that the lies spread and stuff like that, they will just use that and they will grow this program. You'll have more young women being attacked, more young men, more every age and every ethnicity being attacked with these microwaves. There's smarter ways and there's ways to act, but going out and doing something crazy to people you think are doing it, besides suing them, which I would recommend if you have the money, it's not going to help. It's not going to help, and it's wrong anyway. It's not who we are. And we'd become like them. So there's a plethora of reasons not to do that. That is one thing that, you know, a lot of times, like, I'm like, you know, I don't want to give advice or something, but that's something I really do want y'all to listen to me to. And I'm like pretty intelligent on some levels with trends and what works and what doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's not going to get the information out there. It's not. It's just not. If you disagree with me, please comment. I believe in a lot of discourse, and I'd like to talk to you if you do think that that's a mechanism that will work, because I want to talk you out of it. So yeah, that's very important to me, the nonviolent approach, because we look really good when we can get plates and defend ourselves and do good things. We look real good. It totally makes the system unjustifiable, you know, and I was going to say something, but I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? It just makes us look better, to be cool, take action, but take peaceful action. Make sure you're doing that. Make sure, even when you're talking to cops or psychiatrists or anything, if you do, those things have worked for me. I think I've gotten lucky. Not talking to cops, but talking to psychiatrists has really worked for me. I've gotten some moral people. And I know God has a hand in all of our situations. So be calm about it, be intelligent, you know. And I know we get angry sometimes, and it's okay to show that anger. It definitely is. It's a human thing. not your fault. It's the people who are murdering you. It's their fault. But there are healthy ways to take action, to step into action, to do things, to do activism, to hand out flyers like these ladies in California. I'm going to give out their email address in the next video so people can contact them. But we got to do the right thing no matter what, and that's what's going to get us through this. That's what's going to, that's what's going to, make people hear our cause, doing things the right way. And I'm definitely working on my situation. The guy's still, in V2K. I want him out of here, but he doesn't, because like if I left and I pulled all the plugs and the plates, I would get really hurt. Like he would really hurt me. And I know that for a fact. But alright, just wanted to make a short video kind of saying what was up with me, what's going on in the world of targeted individuals as far as I know. I know some people are probably, Derek, the leader of, I don't know if he's the leader or executive director, or I think he pretty much runs FCCHS. He's been talking to city councils in California. There are things being passed. There was something passed in I got an ant. In California, I forgot the city's name, but it was passed, and it was like a legislative act to try and protect people from stalking. It may not stop them, but it'll get our feet in the door. Any kind of legal action will be getting our feet in the door, even if it doesn't stop them. Like even if they don't stop, targeting you, it will definitely put it on the books, and then we can build on that. But that stuff's coming. People are doing it. We're working all these different angles, so there's tons of hope. Don't feel hopeless. Get in touch with me, and I can, try and get you in touch with FCCHS, or just contact them directly. ISA Act, there's so many organizations. Go to talkshoe.com to find conference calls and connect with people who you can talk to them and get connected with people in your state. There's somebody from I hope I'm saying that right, FCCHS. Yeah, I think it's FCCHS. But there's somebody in my state, the state of Louisiana, who, is connected to them. So I'm going to be sending him an email and try and get something worked up in our state, a meeting, or maybe a peaceful protest on the Capitol steps. We need to start moving towards that, and then maybe the mainstream media will cover us. I think some people have a great idea, and I don't think it'd be that hard if we could all get organized and do a peaceful protest with signs on the city capitals of every capital city in the U.S., or just where you live. Just do a whole across the board one day, even the world maybe. Protests around the world about this. It would have to get in the mainstream media. I don't know what that would take. That's an idea I heard from somebody else, which is great. It sounds great, but I think it's plausible. It's doable. If every group in every state puts it together and we agree on a date, it's very, very likely we could get something like that put together. We've got to start being active. We've got to start, like these ladies from California. They had great ideas, and I always go back to them. And so I need to I don't know, I'm going to ask them, I'm going to email them and see if it's all right if I give their names and their emails on my video. But I do want to tell their ideas. They hand out flyers, and it's more about the people they're handing the flyers out to. It's more about how it affects their life, how it could affect their children or their family, because people are using these directed energy weapons. They are using microwaves, and they are, surveilling and attacking people in their houses. So it makes it less about, they're doing this to me, let me tell them a horror story, and more about, this could affect your family. And they found that they've gotten very, very positive results from that. But let's keep fighting. Just keep fighting. I'll definitely see you guys on the next one. God bless you all, and He is with us. God is with us on this. I'm 100% sure. Sometimes, like, it's still hard, and at the end of the night, I'm like, oh my God, these people, they're still up doing this to me, and I don't feel very positive mentally or physically. But you got to just jump back with your spirit. God can renew us. Jesus Christ can make all things new. Like, and like what I was saying about Paul, he said, my grace is sufficient. In my situation, and I know in y'all's situation, maybe some people have gotten out of this, but in most of our situations, God has decided not to remove this thorn, but His grace has to be sufficient, and eventually He will remove that thorn. And when the time is right, He will remove that thorn. I just have complete faith that He will turn these ashes into beauty. We will see good come from this, and a lot of our lives restored. I hope all of our lives restored. All right, guys. Well, I'm praying for y'all. Pray for me. Pray for my family, that they aren't driven crazy by me, and that we can do some good in the world. We can get through this and live our lives. Get to those people who don't know what's happening to them. So they don't do anything dangerous in society. That's the worst thing for us. And that's heavy on my heart. It's heavy on my heart. I see a lot of violence on the news. I see a lot of weird stuff happening, a lot of shootings and stuff. And I don't know for certain. I'm sure if I research a lot of that, I'd find that it has a connection to some of this. And that weighs very heavily on my heart. And we need to stop that. We need to stop that. In no case will that... in no case will that strengthen our cause. It will not. Like, maybe to us, like, we remember Myron Mays, and, it may strengthen target individuals, and, like, we may fight harder because that horrible thing happened. But in the mainstream media and the opinion of the public, it makes us look crazy. It wasn't the right thing to do, and you can do better things than that. You can hand out flyers. We can go do peaceful protests. You can get to fences. You can just tell a friend even, or make a video. There are things that will carry so much further than that. Because of the world we're living in, the way that information flows, it won't help. Now, if the mainstream media looked into everything, and investigative reporters went in and they said, man, this guy went and he shot up a lot, and this is what he was experiencing, and they started studying that and opening it up, I still wouldn't have a different view of it, because it's wrong, because it's just wrong. But I would probably not be talking about it right now. I'd probably, I'd be still thinking about, not thinking about doing it, but I'd still be like, wow, whatever. It's wrong anyway, but especially with the way information flows, it didn't help. And we just see that in those cases. That's kind of the point I want to make. We saw it in those cases where he went and shot up a library. They didn't look into it. They said he's probably a terrorist or crazy, and that was the end of it. And we didn't have a bunch of investigative reporters studying like the stuff that he put out or anything like that. Please comment down below if you disagree with me about that, because I really do want to talk to anybody who thinks that's the way and convince you otherwise, because I have a lot of good arguments, and I've done a lot of things that can strengthen us that have nothing to do with violence, and it's heavy on my heart, and I know that's something that even my attackers, like I heard them kind of on the VTK, they're like, see, blah, blah, he's talking about that. But I got to go there, I got to talk about it, not because I'm going to do anything like that, but because I want to stop that sort of thing. And I've just got to do that, because it's heavy on my heart. It's something that God's on me to talk about, and I'm sure a lot of y'all feel the same way. I'm sure everybody feels the same way about that. I know that we feel angry and stuff like that, and justifiably so, but we got to be smart. We got to beat people. We can't become like them. I think a lot of these people who are doing this to us are saying they're fighting terrorism. They've already become terrorists. They've already become what they've hated. So, it's just a cycle of violence. And if you meet violence with violence, it's just going to cycle into more violence. No good will come out of it. You gotta shine the light of peace into that, and be intelligent, and come up with things that can really help us. And be proactive. I mean, do things that are active. Get up and do stuff, but in the right way. And that's something that just weighs heavily on my heart, so I've got to say it a lot. I don't know why. I guess that's a huge thing that I know won't help us. I know it won't, because I watch it, and I watch how things like mainstream media, if anything violent happens, they're going to be like, that guy's probably a terrorist, and that's going to be the end of it. And then other people may dig underneath and find there was something more sinister there, but it's not going to help us in a big sense. And I don't know why I harped on that so much, but I gotta go there. I gotta talk about that, because I have strong beliefs about that. It's kind of, God's putting that into me a lot, like that. He's putting that in my heart a lot, that this won't be won by any kind of violence. Like, I sometimes want to punch my attacker in the nose, but that's not going to get us there. Not even that. Alright, guys, I love y'all. God bless you. I'll see y'all in the next one. And keep fighting, keep thinking in new ways, keep praying about it, about how to get yourself out of this. Don't ever give these guys too much credit. It's equipment, even though it does do incredible things. Don't feel like they just have total control of you, like you're a rag doll, because that's not true. Sometimes I feel like the more control you think they have, the more they will have. So be a fighter. If you're mad, say, you're not going to control me. I've said that to my attackers before. You're not going to control me or anything I do. And God is in control of this situation. For me and for all of us. So it's alright, guys. God bless y'all. Live long and prosper, and I will see you on the next one. I love you guys.